even now, it's hard to talk to young stylists because they know everything. I got somebody
They don't know
5 years know everything and tell me we're antiquated.
Don't know nothing.
We're antiquated. How are we
Right.
antiquated? I've been doing this. I've owned for 24, and I've been doing this for 36 successfully.
Yes.
You got to pray you get to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Right.
So how you gonna tell me that we're antiquated?
Yeah, they don't know.
Yeah, you don't know because you ain't even been through it yet.
Because they think that all I have to do is post this on social media with a
right.
filter. I'm going to get people to call me and I'm going to get my coins.
Yes.
That's how they look at it.
Yeah.
So they do think that.
Hi, I'm Tanya Tymus Bellamy, and this is Garrett, and we are the hosts of Icon Theory Podcast. Today, we are so excited that we have a special guest in with us, our actual very first guest, and what an amazing guest it is. We were just talking about him being Mr. DC Beauty. So whenever anybody mentions anything about the beauty industry in DC, this is the first name that always comes up.
For sure.
The Vernon Martin of the Vernon Martin Salon. And of course, he has a plethora of other things that he does, and we're going to get into that shortly. So what are we talking about today, Dawn?
Well, today we're going to discuss the business behind the beauty industry. So all three of us have been salon owners or are currently salon owners, and we want to dive into what that entails and how it can help our followers.
Yeah. So I just wanted to introduce Vernon by name, but we're going to let him tell you a little bit about how long he's been in the industry, all the things he's done in the industry, and then we'll delve into a few more things that he's doing in the future. So let's just talk a little bit about how you started out in the beauty industry.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for having me. I'm so honored. I am.
Aww.
I'm so humble. You know, I'm very humble. I'm a good guy. Even though people, if you ask them, they'll say something else. But I don't know why. But
I don't either, because I know you're a great guy. You're better than good.
Yeah. But you can add author to that.
All right.
You know?
Amazing.
And I'm trying to. They told me I was number 40 other than I'm number 3 on Amazon bestseller list. Yeah. So
wow, that's amazing.
I'm so excited. So when I have my book signed, I'm gonna invite you all.
For sure.
As you said, my name is Vernon Martin. I've been a hairstylist for 36 years. I have been a salon owner for 24. I think it's 24. 24 this year.
Yeah.
24 years. I have been known to do quite a bit of celebrities, some of which were sent to me via Tanya when she was living out of state. And I have done everybody. I traveled with Aretha Franklin. Kerry Washington, Gayle King, Chrissy Teigen. Oh God, it's so many. Cicely Tyson. Did I say her? I didn't say her. Cicely Tyson. Vivica. Lisa Leslie. So many of them.
Right.
They've been through my chair. I can't think right now, but the list goes on. And I'm not bragging. Tanya wanted me to say as many as possible. Shonda Rhimes.
Yes, that's a biggie right there.
And then one that I can't say yet because I had to sign an NDA. I can't wait to say that. I had to sign an NDA. But yeah, I've been doing this for a while, so I'm going to enjoy having this conversation with you guys about the beauty industry and the state of it.
Yeah,
for sure.
The business side.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, as he said, we all have been salon owners, and we have been that for a few decades. So seeing the shifts in our industry, specifically as it pertains to social media. Let's start with that because that's a huge part of it. How do you feel like social media has impacted our industry specifically?
I think it has done it well. As you know, when we came out, we didn't have social media.
Right.
We went on our talent. I hate to say it, social media has been a good friend to a lot of people. It helped build their business, but it also built a smokescreen in front of their work. And that's not hating, it's the truth. With us, you got what you got. If somebody saw your work in a hair book, that was your work. They didn't even have strong editing back then, you know? And so every little thing was caught. Nowadays, they have AI can make a hairstyle look like something. You know, you can do anything and then get online and make it look away and win a competition. I mean, it's so many things you could do.
For sure.
And so, but it has helped when used properly for people to build their businesses, I think. Because without it, people don't know who you are anymore, it seems like, you know. I do think it's been a good friend, though. I will say that it's been a good friend. I'm not going to down, because if we didn't have it, we would still, I think, have what we have. But I think we get even more with social media.
Definitely.
For sure. It's been, I think, the catalyst to help a lot of, especially new stylists, build their book. I don't know that there's a way to build your clientele now without it.
Without
at
it,
all.
no.
So, you know, when used properly, it can be your best friend.
Yeah.
But you're correct.
Yeah.
There's a lot of deception
Oh, yes.
going on.
Oh, yes.
A lot of people putting work out that's not theirs and all of that. But it's a great way to build your book and help new stylists get to six figures faster.
Yeah. There's a picture, a couple of pictures going around social media that I've seen, and I was even like, oh my God, whoever did this did a phenomenal job. This is bad.
And it was fake.
And somebody said, Vernon, that's AI generated.
You are kidding.
And people are using that. And so you have your clients bringing you these pictures. And that's where the problem comes.
And you just have to tell them,
And
you
they're
know
like-
it's not going to look like this.
Yeah, and they're like, I want mine. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that, because the person who you think that didn't even do that, that
For
was
sure.
done on a computer. And when I say the thing was just beautiful, but that's going to be a problem.
Yeah,
AI.
so you think that it's giving customers a false expectation as to what things can look like, and what's real,
Almost
they'll
definitely.
think that maybe you're not good enough.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, they can always go to them. Nowadays, people are
And I get
traveling. People will travel to the. Let me tell you something. People
They
will
will
travel to go to somebody who they said, this girl on social media, and she's in Atlanta, North Carolina, or LA, and they will go just for a haircut. And I'm like, but there's 50,000 hairstyles in DC, and I'm sorry, DC is always, to me, and I can only speak on DC, it has always been underrated to me. DC is underrated. DC has some of the baddest hairstylists, if not the baddest to me. Because a lot of people don't do what we do. The detail that we spend on hair, I mean, just everything about how DC people do hair is different. The creativity, you know, we have some phenomenal hairstylists here, and I take my hat off to them, you know, and I'm sitting next to two. So I'm just like, when you hear that people went somewhere to get a color like Tanya's, and you're like, there could be a new client, they'll say, I went to this girl in Richmond, and I'm like, for what? And she was like, to get this, and I said, okay.
But to play devil's advocate here, wouldn't it just make sense to position yourself, if you are a stylist, so that you could be that go-to person?
Right.
Instead of a lot of stylists now, they just complain that, I can't get the people to come to me. Just be that person.
Yeah, but some people are so good with social media.
You just
I have to give it to
become
them.
good.
They bad. I'm
You have to
sorry.
become
Because I'm
great
not a
at
big
it.
social media person. Like, people
Yeah.
say, Bernie, you're not. I said, listen, I post what I want to post. And don't ask me, I tell clients, don't ask me what's my social media, because you're going to be disappointed. You might see my grandson, you might see me, you may see me sitting at a restaurant eating, I'm at a party, and then somewhere 2 or 4 rows down, you're going to see a hairstyle. Because I don't be thinking to stand there and go, oh, let me get this. You know, sometimes my stylist will walk over and say, Vernon, give me your phone. And to start, because I'm not thinking to do that because I'm not that stylist.
Right.
I still don't depend on it. If I did, I'd probably be even, more
busy,
known or busy.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I don't want to be.
Yeah.
So
that's true. I limit my posting.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you post, you get a flood of clients.
Yeah, you do.
I think for all of us being veterans, we have built those relationships with our people.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, a lot of our clients are relationship based as opposed to having all the smoke and mirrors that are going on out there and all of those things. I didn't want this to be a whole thing about social media, but it is really starting to become the new currency in our industry. Because literally, our bios or our reputation, we could hold it against anybody in this entire country. But you'll have somebody who's done a third of what you've done and they have 50,000 followers. So that makes them kind of, I guess, seem like they're here and they may have only been doing hair a couple years, but smoke and mirrors that we were talking about.
For sure.
Yes.
Then there's one more thing. So being on the board of cosmetology in DC, being a board member, we get a lot of complaints about social media. Also, these new people make people pay ahead or pay a deposit. And when they get to them, there's nobody there.
Now that's a situation.
And it's all from social media. So they'll put out this work and say this is, and they're like, oh my God, I'm going to go to Dawn and get my hair done. And they call and Dawn, or they DM her because they don't call me, don't call my phone. They DM her. It's so much for this. We can go on. I can tell you some stories because I have a lot of young people working my shop. But and they'll go, well, you have to leave a deposit. You have never met this person. So you say, okay, I'm gonna come to you. And they're like, no, send it to this Cash App or whatever. And they send them their money. They get there and there's nobody there.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And they'll go by there every day and there's nobody there. So you're giving your money. That's why I say social media can be a curse because you're having all these people who are being shysted into giving up money because they see this beautiful work on social media and then they're messing them up. So
if someone's being fraudulent, which could happen with social media or not, you have to look at the consumers, at some point and say, am I really vetting this person the way that I should? Because I'm not just going to put a deposit if I only can DM you.
Right.
Or if I can't even DM you, there's not a proper setup. You don't have a proper website. Those are all things that would let you know that a business is official. So there's enough out here. So at that point, you do have to question. How sorry can you feel for somebody?
I'm telling you, they're so thorough. We'll go back and look, and I'm like, how are you getting away with this? We'll go and look, we check it out, but see, we can't send anyone. We can send them out if they do something to them, but when it comes to I paid somebody and they didn't, we don't send out.
So are they licensed or not licensed?
Well, we could look up the person's name and we might say, I ain't never heard of no Dawn Garrett. So she's not in the computer.
Right.
So they're going and they're paying these people. But so tell me so from what I told you and where I told you that they're going, what's the biggest problem?
Well,
I don't know.
Suite.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So are these people licensed though?
You don't have to be in a suite.
No, but you have to be licensed to do hair.
You have to be licensed to do hair, but oh God, this is a whole hour.
So if you're licensed, if you have to be licensed to do hair and someone's complaining, what is the repercussion there?
There is none if you can't find the person.
So you can't
if it's a
find
fake
them
person,
at all. And these
if
people
they have
are
these
in
pages,
suites?
they have pages they got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,000 followers.
Wow.
That
So
they
that
might
is
have bought. They might have bought them, but they got them.
That is a situation.
So you want us to police their social media, police it. Not if you have 1 or 2 doing it, that's different. But you have way more than 1 or 2 doing this.
Yeah.
It's bad.
So then if that's the case, then is there a website?
Yeah, they have websites.
So they're going to a website?
They go to,
Or is it one of those?
So you know that, again, the new thing is
The
that
booking site.
you could say, I have a website, and a client will say in a minute, what's your social media? Or people will say, what's your social media? They don't even care. Anybody who paid too much, young people, for a website, probably a little crazy. They're not like us.
Right,
you know, we want a
right.
website. I want a website because I don't use social media for my business. So if their social media is set up properly, that's all they need.
Right.
They can do the president. All they do is go to their website, I mean their social media,
terrible.
the Instagram, and see. And you know, things, you know, I was always taught, my grandmother always taught me this, and it's so funny, I didn't think about it until we started this journey on the board, that sometimes because things don't make sense to you, don't mean that they don't happen.
For sure.
Yes.
Because, you know, you'll be like, oh my God, how is this happening? This is crazy. But when you find out that you have these, and I'm not coming for y'all salon suites, so don't send me hate. Don't send me hate DMs, and 'cause I don't care. I'm sticking by this because I care about this industry,
Yes,
and I don't like
certainly.
it being made a mockery of. And that's what's happening. Our industry is being made a mockery of. It really is. And so, not with just that, but that's, again, this is a whole nother hour too. But, so they do these things, and then you go, and so, say we send somebody out to that suite, and we'll say, well, we were told that this person took about 10 people money at $250, and they disappeared.
Right.
And they're like, we haven't seen them since, right?
Wow.
They'll get you to come and apply for that same suite. And because she don't know that you know me, so they come, a friend or a husband, their husbands being on it, because we had one incident where the husband did it. The husband came, had the suite open, the same person went and did it again.
Wow.
So she made her a few $1,000s, and then she probably went on to another suite. You know what I mean? But we can't keep up with her.
Right, that's interesting, though.
And then the suites do not ask them for, I believe if you're gonna have salon suites, they, in a building that's all salon suites, those are all hair salons or barbershops or whatever. They should all be treated as businesses. That's why these people don't treat their stuff as businesses, because they're for real stylists and booth renters and suites. You know what I mean? They should be made to have business licenses, occupancy licenses, manager licenses, all of that. They should have all of that, and they don't have it. So because they don't have it, they basically can rent you a suite. If you think about it, suites you can tell them it's for clothes.
So they can.
And they don't come by and check.
Are they asking for cosmetology licenses?
They might ask them what you're using it for. No, not in
It's not a
suite.
So that's
it's a requirement for us, of course.
That's part of the issue. If the board is not requiring licensing, and I've even noticed here in Maryland, they don't even have the staff to go out and even remember back in the day they used to be running
all the time.
We'd be running like, well, I've always been like that. So not me, but the other staff. They be running like, ooh, stay board up front. I mean, now stay board doesn't even come through anymore
unless they're called.
Yeah.
And then you have that. You have people. Somebody just don't like Dawn, and they'll call the stay board on you.
Oh,
just
well,
because they don't like Dawn. No. They do it to make you uncomfortable, to make you. Just to rattle you, you know, which I think is stupid, you know. Because we can tell when those come, because those are coming, we'll say,
like, come on now.
Right.
Like, let's get real. But I mean, you're correct. I mean, the suites, I'm not a fan on the ownership side, but not on on the other side, because I think people go into them with a false expectation.
Certainly.
People come straight out of hair school and go straight into a suite. I'm like,
don't know anything about the business.
Who told you that this makes sense?
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody done say, oh, don't give them people your money. Which, I mean, I think all of that originated from booth renting. Because before you got out of hair school, you initially was going straight to a commission salon.
Correct.
Then you would graduate into it. And it's become an issue with, I'm not giving the salon owner half of my money. I'm like, you need to give somebody
Let me tell you something. When
when
I first opened, my salon was completely commissioned. And it reminds me of something Tanya had just said to me up front, actually, when we were talking about the music. And the shot was run perfectly. And I had heavy hitters in my salon, and they were all making a shitload of money. But I was the type of owner, I would take them to New York. We would have classes. We would go do this. I had financial planners come in to go over their finances and how to help them, everything that should be done, I feel as though I did, and everybody was happy. One of my stylists had a boyfriend who was a stylist, and he said, y'all making Vernon rich, giving him all your money. And that stylist decided, who wasn't good with money, but see, that other person wasn't making nowhere near, even with him on booth rent.
Yes.
I mean, on commission, nowhere near what he made.
Right.
And he was my star. I did everything for him. Anything he wanted is yours. Because that's what you do. Had a talk with him. He insisted on it. I said, okay, no problem. Because I didn't want to lose him.
Yes.
But what I should have done, because I was making a shitload of money, I never opened anything that I can't pay. I've never done that. I always said, I gotta be able to pay it. If I gotta slip on my rent or my mortgage, I'm gonna make sure that shop,
And
I can pay for it.
Yes.
And I let him do it, and I tried to sneak and do it. Then the other stylists found out. Then they all threatened to leave if I didn't let them booth rent it. And it changed the whole dynamic of my business. I allowed them to change the dynamics of my business.
For sure.
Right.
And it has never, to me, been the same.
It's not.
For me, it's not the same. And I feel as though I could do more for them
On commission.
if they had done that.
Right.
You know? And even now, it's hard to talk to young stylists because they know everything. I got somebody
They
been
don't
with me
know
5
nothing.
years, know everything, and tell me we're
Don't
antiquated.
know nothing.
We're antiquated. How are we
Right.
antiquated? I've been doing this, I've owned for 24, and I've been doing this for 36 successfully.
Yes.
You gotta pray you get to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Right.
So how you gonna tell me that we're antiquated?
Yeah, they don't know.
Yeah, you don't know, because you ain't even been through it yet.
Because they think that all I have to do is post this on social media with a
right.
filter. I'm going to get people to call me, and I'm going to get my coins.
Yes.
That's how they look at it.
Yeah.
So they do think that the way that we did it was different. And I mean, to be honest, how we did it, it does have to be done differently.
Almost
now.
definitely.
Yes.
But it should be better.
Yeah. So
They're not doing it better.
yeah, and then I mean, it's like they have absolutely no business, not one business skill.
Right.
They don't even understand how to, like that. Your expenses a lot of time exceed a 50-50 commission.
Yeah.
Correct.
If you
Yes.
really do your numbers,
If you
but
do
they
your
go
numbers.
into these suites, and the suites. Let's be clear, they're not cheap. I don't know why people think that they're going to pay $200 to be
Right.
in a
Because
suite.
that doesn't
Because it's
exist.
not. So you
Yes.
have this high rent,
Mhm.
then you have your whatever marketing you're doing, your supplies, if you have an assistant. We're not even factoring in taxes
Correct.
and
Mhm.
credit card transaction fees.
Fees.
You have all this that you have to take into consideration. You might as well be on 50-50.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And
get
have
the
some
perks.
peace of mind.
And get the
honestly,
perks.
And have
And
that
get
peace of mind,
clients.
because you're just
You know.
showing up to take care of the client.
Yes.
For sure.
And that makes a huge difference in what you're able to do to grow your following.
Mhm.
And when I say your following, I mean your clientele, not necessarily your social media following, but if that is that where you can focus as a young stylist, that's where you're laying that foundation.
Yeah.
So we may be older, we may be antiquated, but I don't care what you do. Having
ain't
a
antiquated.
foundation. Well, I'm saying
Don't let
what
this
they're
stuff
saying.
You're not, and look at your salon. You're not antiquated.
No.
It's
No.
that you know what the hell you're doing.
Correct.
Period.
They don't know what they're doing.
And what I'm saying is that foundation is necessary in any business. I mean, we are all entrepreneurs, so we know how important having that foundation and having systems. And I hate that that happened to you. And that is always an ongoing battle to try
Yes.
to get people to stay committed to your brand, because it
Yeah.
takes that one and that
Oh.
snowball effect. I just
Oh.
recently had a situation like that. And I've been doing this 37
Yeah,
years.
you longer
10
than
salons,
me.
and it's constantly somebody who's going to try to come in
Yeah.
and shift the narrative. You already, I mean, you have a strong brand, but
Mhm.
somebody's in everybody's ear all the
Yeah.
time. We should be doing this. We should be doing that. get your own space.
Nobody want to hear that.
Right. Well,
And
unfortunately, a lot of
Yeah.
people do listen.
Do listen.
you
And I
know?
mean, at that point, and when you're a new stylist, you really need to be focusing on getting your craft together.
Yes.
You're
Right.
not that good yet.
You're not perfect like
Yeah.
you think you are.
Right. So you should spend that time
Mhm.
honing in on your craft, figuring out what your niche is, what you're going to be
Taking
great at,
classes.
and
Yes.
focus on that. And I mean, again, I think we've talked about this before. As a salon owner, you can never really operate from a position of fear.
Never.
And that's
No.
when you hear that,
you make those
you
mistakes.
you make
definitely.
those decisions where you're like,
Mhm.
oh, I don't want to lose him.
Mhm.
So let me just let them booth rent. Instead of just saying, no, this is my position.
Or let
this is
them
where
have
I
their
stand.
way.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we've all had some that have left and circled right back around
Right,
and
right,
come
right.
back. because
Nobody
it ain't
gonna treat you
always
like I
sweet.
do.
Right.
That's how I
Let's be
feel.
Mhm.
Nobody's
Let's be
gonna treat
clear.
you like I do. But then you have another issue.
Uh-oh.
You have another issue. So you go to these schools and I talk to people. We only have 2 really main schools in DC and hair schools. So you talk to these school owners and they are going through it because the students want to tell the teacher how to teach. And do you know why?
Is that what they doing?
Yeah. No.
I look on
Listen.
YouTube and they're not
There you
doing it
go.
like that.
YouTube, because they're looking at YouTube. So
Okay. And
YouTube
YouTube-
is telling them
A whole bunch of unlicensed
YouTube
people.
University.
Right.
They go look at YouTube and feel as though I know more than a teacher. Well, then how come? I don't know if I can say this. I
Say
better not
what
say
you
it.
wanna
No,
say.
I
I'm
can't.
down to-
It's how many people passed. I don't know if I can talk about that. So, but then y'all should be passing your board.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you know it, then you should be passing your board.
See, they don't think that the board is important to being able to do hair.
Yeah.
They
yeah.
don't think that even hair school is important to being able to
Right.
do hair, which is why you have so many people who have issues probably with alopecia now.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean,
It's
because
so many people.
I know this is the biggest hair loss situation
Yeah.
I have seen
Ever
in my
in my
37
but a lot of it
years.
is probably coming from these unlicensed stylists
Mhm.
going to people's houses and people not really stopping the damage before it gets too bad.
But
You know.
I'm sorry, but you know what? I will say this. I will say this. I'm seeing more stylists starting to get into hair care.
Yeah.
I am.
Real stylists.
Yeah. And even some of these younger people, I'm watching them, and I'm like, oh, good.
Because I mean, it's a must.
impressed.
It's a
That's
must
what
these
impressed me.
days.
Yeah.
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 You know, not how well they can wave or do a spike
Right.
or a cut, that they're into hair care because that's where everything starts.
Yeah,
From
for
the
sure.
scalp. So I'm like, I'm like, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, this little girl gotta be 23. I'm on social media and I come across it. Oh,
Yeah, they're
I
making
like
it popular
that.
now to
Yeah, to be into
you see
hair
all the
care.
skin treatments.
Yes,
and,
exactly.
On social media
On
now,
social
they're
media.
making it more spotlight.
Yes, and I love
In their
that.
kitchen.
Yeah, yeah, in the kitchen.
Ain't nobody got time for that grits on the stove and the
No,
steamer over here on
Hold
the
on,
left.
have you
Come
seen
on
the
now.
guy? He smokes his cigarette doing people's hair.
No.
That's a whole situation. That's out of control. But I mean,
I mean, I think one thing that we have all fought for and constantly talk about is our industry being respected.
Yeah.
Because that we make so much more money than people really think we do. But
Let's
with
keep
things,
that a secret.
Right. Well, with things shifting and going into suites and all of those things, do you guys think it's still possible for there to be 7-figure black salons?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. If number one, people listen.
Well,
You
good
know,
luck with that.
yeah, people listen. If we can get clients back to respecting us, because they don't. Everybody want to come to us for a discount, but they can go and to a lawyer who charge XYZ or the doctor with the, and get BBLs and pay for all of these things, get new mouths and whatever, but you won't come to us and you think what we charge is too much. You think that what we charge
Right.
is crazy, that we're trying to get over, but you don't know our overhead.
Right.
And just like what we were talking about earlier about the situation in Atlanta, there is no way, there's no professional industry that they're questioning whether people should have licenses, from nurses to doctors to real estate, you name it. Nobody's license is in the law documents to go up to not be licensed.
Correct.
That is embarrassing.
It is.
That shows you that they don't care. That shows you that this is they treat it as if it's a hobby, and the stylists are right with it. Because to me, I have not heard enough hollering about it. Every stylist I talk to, I mention this, and I say, how do you feel about this? What is going on? Because if Atlanta do it, then who's going to be next?
Yeah, it's going to trickle down.
It's going to trickle
It's
down.
definitely going to trickle down.
And then you'll have all these women going around with bald heads.
Correct.
And not because they wanted them.
Right.
You know what? And to that point, I've always felt like cosmetology licenses should have continuing education.
Correct.
Because with my real estate license, I have to do 15 hours of continuing education every 2 years.
We do in DC too.
Oh, DC. So in Maryland, there's no continuing education
Correct.
at all. And I think that's crazy.
It really is.
Especially with all of the advancements and understanding, especially just trichology.
Yes.
in and of itself. That should be part of the test.
Well, I mean,
Which it's
there is
not.
a whole science to what we do.
It is.
And if you're not going to school, I mean,
You
that
would
is
not
where
know.
you learn it. So you're not going to
Yes,
get that
that's
on
what-
YouTube
Yeah.
University.
Because school, and another thing, we don't just learn hair, we learn, there's science. There's so much in
the
our
chemistry,
books.
of course.
The chemistry.
Yes.
You know, pH levels. It's so much we learn in school. And the fact that it is in jeopardy of them snatching that, where does that leave us?
Well, I really feel like the reason it is in jeopardy because there are so many unlicensed stylists out there who have gained this popularity through the finished look. And I mean, for braid stylists and wig stylists, they're not required to have a license because they're supposedly not working with chemicals. But
They do.
we are seeing a lot of hair loss
Because of
coming
braids.
from that. Yes, specifically
Yes.
from that.
Well, don't you think part of the problem is that as veteran stylists, our voice isn't loud enough? Like some
most
of us,
definitely.
I mean, and maybe more veteran stylists should speak up because clearly it's not going to come from the newer one.
Yes.
Oh, no, not at all.
Right.
So it could be that there's really not enough togetherness.
Yeah.
Amongst
With-
that. Yeah.
I was in Starbucks one day and I was near a hair school and these 5 girls walked in. They had on all black and you could tell they were their uniforms. And me and one of my stylists were in there and we both had our smocks still on. And so you could tell we're seasoned, you know. And so I have to feel the room to talk to you. I can't just talk to people. I got to feel you out. I got to listen to what you're saying. So I already picked up. I'm not talking to them young girls. I did because I could tell, I could hear it in their voice and what they were talking about. He turns around and he friendly to them and how are you? How y'all doing? So y'all in hair school? Yeah. He said, oh, where? They were like, they said the school. And he said, oh, okay, well, good luck to you all. They were like, so anyway.
So that's where the customer service
Yes,
starts.
and so
It
I'm
starts
like-
to hit
Or the lack thereof.
about it. Even the hair schools around here, their customer service is horrible. I've, had my assistant call to find other assistants. I mean, they're rude.
They don't wanna be an
they're not
assistant
even
either.
teaching.
No.
They're not teaching customer service on
At
that
all.
level either, because even that alone, you get your clients from just basic
Yes.
conversation.
What they should have said was, oh my God, you all work in a salon? Which
Right.
one? What's your name? Because you don't know who you're talking to.
To-
Hello?
I could have been Beyonce stylist that created that hairline
Oh,
for
they
her.
would have been all in your face.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm saying you didn't even know that.
that,
And
right.
you sitting there,
Stylist.
yeah, but you sitting here and it was so rude. I just turned my head and he was like, I don't believe they. Did you see
You
that?
should have dropped
Right.
the name
I
or two
said,
at
right.
that
They
time.
probably never heard of us. But it's just that
They probably have.
You didn't have to drop a name.
Yeah.
You could have just said, oh, have a conversation amongst you all.
Yeah.
Oh, are you going to do Rihanna this weekend?
okay. But-
So I think the difference with that is some people look at what we do as a job and then some of us look at it as a career.
yeah.
So therefore, it's your approach right from the beginning determines how your career or your time in the salon will play out based on whichever one it is. So I really do think it is. I mean, I can remember being a young stylist, and we came up through the industry around the same time. I mean, looking up to Natural Motion and Liz Nolan and AD, all of these places that were, well, maybe a little before your time.
They were the hottest salons.
But they were right before us. So we came up through that fringes, because I started out as an assistant there. I know you were an assistant at AD. Right. But they really did, I would say, hazed us. Yeah. So to speak, like literally, I can remember leaving the salon 9 o'clock at night. Shampoo that over. I found a flake. Da 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 da.
That's
but
true.
It teaches you. You may not appreciate it in that moment, but they're teaching the whole time. And I think that's one of the challenges we're facing. I know we have several young ladies that work in the salon, like just not being open to learning and open to growing. And that customer service is such a huge part of that. And it impacts the type of clientele that you get.
And what you can charge.
Right. Because most women who have disposable income, who can drop you $150 a week, that's just based on a base service. You know what I mean? That is a base. We're not talking about building a ticket. We're talking about base service. They're not going to deal with somebody smacking their lips and not having a conversation. And I'm even finding it going both ways. Sometimes when I'm doing a younger client, I'm almost offended because they're here the entire time. I'm trying to talk to them about their hair, and literally they're on their phone. I don't even know what they're watching. Like just so unavailable. So I often wonder if it's a sign of the times or is it specific to our industry? What's your thoughts on that? Do you feel like it's a sign of the times, or do you think
it's both?
Okay.
Yeah.
I do. I think it's both. I really do. Social media is so funny because that's what's happening with parents and children. You know, family and friends at dinner.
Yes.
Because I think the friends we have, think of all your good friends you've had over the years who you're still friends with.
Yes.
Who you're still friends with. If we had social media back then and phones, you probably wouldn't be as close to
You probably wouldn't, because you wouldn't have built or cultivated those relationships.
And I told somebody recently, that's why you're hearing more stories of people shooting their own brothers or killing their own cousins, and because they have no connection. Because their life has been on my phone, this. You know, you sit at dinner, you do this. You sit at everywhere you go, you do this. You sit in a class to learn something, you might catch one or two things, but most of the time you're doing this and you're scrolling Instagram. And I always tell people, Instagram, outside of me promoting is not getting me money looking at other people's stuff.
Right.
Looking at other people's stuff is not going to get me money. I don't care about Instagram.
Right.
But my relationship with people is very dear to me, you know? And so that's why I said earlier, I think social media it's a good thing, but it's a curse too. I call it an antichrist.
Yeah, I mean, it's generational.
It is.
I just think that generation, that's what they're going to do, and we just have to adapt to that's what it is.
Right.
But I mean, to your point, in terms of customer service, I do think that should be taught earlier. I also think with that generation that a lot of that has to do with the parenting, but that's a whole nother topic.
That's another hour. So now we just talked up about 3 hours. Things we're going to have to come back and talk about.
Because I mean, you know, with even how sometimes you've experienced this, how they show up for interviews. You're like, pull yourself together, sweetie.
Right.
You know, but also even with the stylists coming in now, like, pull it together.
Right.
Put on a lip gloss or something.
Right.
Like I just feel like when people come in, they get excited when their stylist is beautiful and groomed.
Yes.
And looking a little fly here and there. You know, pull it together, speak well, be on time, get it together. And when you give them that number, they won't blink an eye.
They won't.
You know, I have a barber who, if they watch this, they're going to fall out. But I have a barber who I have to give it to him. He brings it every day he walks through that door. So I'll turn to him and say, I don't know how you wear your good stuff in here. But I remember when we started, we would wear cowboy boots and
we had a heels
and work all day long. There were no flat shoes under your station then.
At all.
We work in what we work, that we could go out at the end of the day. So what he has done, even with me, is I love when I come in and see him like that, because he reminds me of, and he came out a little after us. So people think he's young, but he came out a little after us. So he's from that era, but he stuck with it. But I said barbers are different because they don't have all the chemicals in the hair that we. So I'm like, oh, I don't want to mess up my clothes. You know, he cut his hair, take his little wish brush, and but I have to give it to him. He has so much swag, and he's so well put together. He's, I love it. And I always tell him, I said, I love when I come to work and see you like that, because it reminds me of the old salon. And I love how he does his business behind his chair. He's with his clients. He talks to his clients. He's attentive to his clients, and it's just I love him. I love him. I don't care. I don't care what else he do.
It does.
And that's why he stay booked, because he's just always. I can just tell he's from that era.
Yeah, and that does help. With not having to worry about, especially with wanting to get respect. In the industry, if you want respect, you have to bring it.
Yeah, definitely.
I've always been you can't just walk in the salon looking any kind of way. That's crazy to me. And I don't, and doing hair on the floor and walking around with rollers, that's a hot mess.
That is.
No.
Yeah.
And they need to pull it together. Put on some lip gloss.
Yeah.
Get your life all the way.
All the way together.
So we were talking about our early grades. Do you feel like we, as I guess the now veterans, have we dropped the ball in passing down some of these things that are important?
No.
Okay.
Because I'm going to get on my assistants. I'm going to say, why is your hair like that?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to, I'm going to come together. I'm going to pull it together walking in.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not doing that.
I mean, because I do feel like we were always a walking billboard. We always advertised what we were selling. And if you're selling beauty, I do think it's very right. So I guess maybe I'm gonna ask this question a different way, because I constantly see the girls coming. I'm like, is that pajamas or is that
pants,
I wish they
would come to work.
No, but it's almost be getting to a point where with fashion you can't tell.
Yeah, you can.
And it's a very gray area. We want to bring up this next generation and we want to lead the charge, but are we
strict enough?
Right.
Because you probably not. Because as a salon owner, you can say, no, it's not casual, it's business casual.
Yes.
You can if you want. You can make them wear slacks. I mean, you already have to wear black.
Yeah, we have to wear black.
You can say no Crocs or whatever. You could if you wanted to. So you have to take the responsibility for that. But at the least, that hair.
Yes.
And this.
Right.
Pull that together.
Right.
Clean it up. Do something. You don't have to wear lashes and all that, but come on now.
Right.
So no, I do think that we drop the ball sometimes with that. And even with making sure that they're treating your clients a particular way.
Definitely,
yeah. It's still a twofold.
I mean,
because I agree with you, but
that said it all.
It is a battle.
It really
and what's so interesting, because everything Don says is true, but what's so interesting is I feel as though you should not have to tell grown people.
But you do.
I know. But you shouldn't have to.
You shouldn't.
How to, especially if, okay, let's say this environment. Now, anybody who's watching your podcast can see that this salon is beautiful. It's,
very
you have
posh.
the white chair. It's very posh. I just told you, I was like, oh, Tanya, I love the front. I love all this. If I walked in the door, I always tell people, don't nobody know Vernon like Vernon know Vernon. When I look in that mirror, I know Vernon. So you know you. So you know if you're a girl or a guy or whatever, and you come and you're hood, not hood, I take that back. I don't hate saying that. I always have to correct that, because that don't always mean that the person is bad and they can still adapt to stuff. Let's say you just who you are. And you come in and let's say they come in and they know they wear shower caps to work and this, that, and the other. And you walk through that front door, there's no way you're gonna tell me you look around here and say, I belong. Because unless you want to change, unless you're going to be that person to say, but when I come here, I'm going to be different because I can see what they're trying to do. But what they'll do is they'll still try to come.
It's that sense of entitlement.
And they get mad
Yeah.
because you sitting in here and you watching everybody flow and you mad because they don't like that you wearing a shirt all the way down to here and your breast sitting up to here, or your, or a type of.
But it's that sense of entitlement and people feeling like you should accept me for who I am. Because now we're in an era, even your kids will tell you, oh, you need to accept what I do.
Right.
I ain't gotta accept
Nothing.
Right.
Well, I tell you what,
Nothing.
then you go to the place where
Right.
that's how that flow for you.
Yeah, so
that's
people
where you gonna
think that.
hear Cardi B and them playing music, and it's gonna be turned up at all times when you want. The salon is not meant to be turned up.
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is?
I agree. I disagree.
The salon is not.
We need high energy.
No.
Nobody don't want to hear Anita Baker all day. Oh,
Can we cut that? Because my people
wants to
can't
hear
hear that.
Anita Baker. No.
Oh, do you know what you just did to me?
Right.
Oh.
Don't nobody want that.
No, I don't want to hear.
Working and we like, oh, let me wake up. Let me get some more
No,
coffee.
now I would say when I'm cutting hair, I gotta have something to give me some
Energy.
energy.
A little bit
but
of
I
Usher
don't
or
want to
something.
hear B's and Holmes
No,
and
no.
PU and
No.
Dion, all
That's
that.
why you have to bring in the pop and the EDM. You can't just do R&B. Come
Okay.
on, if I hear one more Maxwell or one more Escape song, she the queen of Escape.
I mean, I just try to play like it was
90s
our vibe. You know what I mean? When we were
90s
out, right.
Well, they have a hip hop instrumental.
Yeah.
They have a hip hop instrumental.
Just slip my wrist, man. I can't
So this is what I do. I'll play a little. I have a Chris Brown playlist, which is on Pandora, and there's no cursing. One word or two might get in, but that's it. Trey Songz has a good one. Somebody just turned me on to him. One of the barbers, Jax. Somebody.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Jack somebody.
So
He has a good
it's
one.
JBCK. Yeah.
No, JACQ.
Oh, Jacquees.
Oh,
Jacquees.
Oh,
But his
His playlist may be good.
it's good. And then I'll do in the morning. I'm like, because it's too early for that. Let's do Lettucey playlist.
Oh Jesus.
See? Something like that. But in my other, I have this
Just
barber,
pour
he
me a glass
makes
of
me,
wine.
he made me a playlist that has a little of it all. Now I like that.
That would be amazing.
I wish he had done it like this. 3 songs hip hop, 3 songs Chris Brown and them, 3 songs, 3. So it's just doing it that way. Because what happens is if you do it on shuffle, you may hear about
No,
all of the hip hop.
I'm gonna tell you what you do. With Pandora, you have to add in just
Other artists, because you can do like a
just
combination.
add disclosure. Just add disclosure. It'll be nice.
Add disclosure.
That's the name of the group.
Uh-huh.
Just add it. Tell me what you think.
Disclosure. Okay.
I thought that was an actual like.
No, disclosure.
I
is a
need
group.
y'all to edit what
Just
she
add.
said about Anita
Say
Baker.
one more time.
It's not just Anita Baker.
We don't even use
Let
it.
Now,
her
I
get
will
up,
hear-
Anita Baker.
No, I have one
I think that is
stylist.
for.
And then it was one time. What
I
kept
will.
coming
I
on?
will run down some
Miss
Jill Scott and some
Shirley.
her.
What's the Shirley song?
Oh yeah.
Oh, hold up, no.
What's the Shirley song?
Oh, I
She
know what
like,
you're talking about.
Hey Shirley.
Hey,
Shirley.
No. Hold up. I have one stylist. He loves his Anita Baker, Aretha Franklin.
At night.
His other. So look,
Oh,
and
your own time, yeah.
if we play and he put his earphones in, he like, I'm not fussing about no music no more. And I'll be like, my whole point is, it seems like you can't please everybody because you'll try to do a little of everything. So if you're playing a little bit of that, but if I hear something come on like a Donny Hathaway slide in there, I hit next. Because I'm like, don't nobody want to hear breaking up is hard to do. It's while you're working. I don't want to hear that. But it's the music thing is bad. That music thing is bad. It gives me the worst headache.
I know.
It gives me we were just talking about that. It's a lot. It's a lot. And when you walk in and they slip in one of the guys, he said, oh, Vernon, V, put on Corey, whatever her name is.
Coy Leray.
I said, and I didn't pay attention, and an assistant who's a young girl came up and said, Vernon, turn that off. I said, huh? She said, turn that off.
Yeah.
I said, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. What did I miss? She was like, we can't play that in here. Because her music, it was all her.
Oh, you're not talking about Coi Leray. You're talking about the other
What you
one.
call his daughter? Benzino's daughter.
No, Janae.
No, Benzino's daughter.
Oh, that's Coi Leray.
Coi Leray.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, it's not all her songs. It's her radio.
Right.
Her radio.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're gonna play a little.
Oh, because Janae Aiko is going to come in and all that.
And she did.
And she
Because I
off the
looked
hook.
down and saw her name, and I never heard of that girl. So then we played Victoria Monet. Is that
Victoria
right?
Monet, yeah.
Now hers was
Stop
cool.
acting like that. You don't know these people.
Oh. But hers was cool. You wouldn't like that because it's a little slow.
Well, I just need a little upbeat while
Yeah.
I'm working. That's all. Just a little upbeat.
So y'all hear this?
The culture is upbeat. It's upbeat without it being hood
Right.
or
And
urban.
Aisha always say, Vernon, we gotta play. I said, I know Aisha, but then sometimes if you have clients who are a particular type of a woman, business women, but some of them I've seen them singing the songs.
They know
Right.
it.
And I said, how you know that song? I don't even know that song.
I think it really goes
need
back
our
to
hype
what we
music.
were talking about. Like, you have to be very specific with your brand. And then when
Yeah.
you start like teetering here and there, I mean, that is a part of the environment. You
It
know what I
is.
mean? So you kind of want the music to match the aesthetic.
I know.
And I
bro.
think, I mean, it is an
This gonna be
ongoing,
a
look at
battle.
Dawn's face. It is an ongoing battle.
It
But,
is.
you know,
It definitely has to match
Right.
the aesthetic.
Yes,
does.
And
definitely.
it really is important to know who your target market is. But I
definitely.
find that a lot of times with salon owners, they get desperate and they start hiring outside of their target market. So if you want like an upscale salon and then you bring in the girl that's going to have all of the 20-somethings as her clients, well, then it's going to be that issue. So it's like, how committed are you really to staying to your brand
Right.
when it gets hard?
Yeah.
Because when it gets hard, we'll teeter a little bit
Right.
to make sure that the
Certainly, and I think that creative juice that we all have in this industry, it's like you're seeing things, you want a little bit of this, you want a little bit of that, but you do understand that creating a niche for your brand that says that this is my brand is important. But like I say, it is, I think all of that is a part of us. That creative piece too, like, oh, everybody's doing these. I need to find somebody who knows how to do this. You know what I mean? So I think we get caught up in that as well. So it's so many ways of constantly.
Because you got to think like there's no children allowed here, right?
Correct.
You wouldn't hire someone who did children
No.
because it would be a situation.
Well,
Oh, and then we have a bar.
right. We do have a bar. But we also do, I mean, I'm just speaking specifically, like I always disclose all of that at the beginning. We don't do children under 13, we da-da-da. And people are always happy-go-lucky because they want the job. And in some kind of way, a child, oh yeah, I forgot I do her,
That's with everything. I hate
you know what I
that.
mean?
They knew what they were doing.
And well, I'm not gonna say unfortunately, that's one thing I have tried to always stand on because
Yeah, for sure.
what is the point in having salon policies
If you're not going to
you know, and that is going back to some of the things we talked about creating a 7-figure brand.